think that Trump did a horrible job, a fantastic job, or an okay job?
I think Trump did a terrible job.
A terrible job. Okay.
Here's the thing. There were a lot of things Trump wanted to do but failed to do. And that was great because they would have been horrible, right? So in that sense, like if Trump had gotten to do his agenda, the healthcare plan, one of the things Trump ran on was, we're going to get rid of Obamacare and we'll replace it with a beautiful system. They never really proposed it. The one thing that was proposed in 2017 by Republicans in consultation would have led to like 25 million more people losing health insurance, but it didn't happen. So that's great. It was a terrible idea, but it failed. So we can kind of, do we zero it out? Maybe so. Trump was going to solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in the first year. Jared was going to solve it. You might not be shocked to hear it didn't actually happen. He moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which was, this is internal politics, but it was controversial. It irritated a lot of people, et cetera.
Why was that so controversial?
Well, the reason it's controversial is within Israel, particularly among the more Orthodox Jews and also among the evangelical American community, for religious reasons, they want the capital of Israel to be Jerusalem. Right now, politically, Jerusalem is disputed. So internationally, the capital of Israel is Tel Aviv. The people who want to just push the embassy to Jerusalem, it doesn't change the capital, but it's a signal. It's sort of like saying, we view Jerusalem as the capital because that's where we're putting the embassy. It sends a signal of like, we don't actually care to resolve the conflict around Jerusalem. We're just going to put the embassy there anyway. So it inflames. It doesn't work towards peace. It arguably works against it.
Yeah.
So that's something he did. It didn't get us closer to peace. So I think the thing on Trump is very confused. Confused about North Korea, confused about China, didn't understand how tariffs worked, all these things. But fortunately, he didn't actually accomplish a lot of the things he tried to do. And I think we're better off for it. That's my political perspective.
You think he didn't do a good job with North Korea?
Well, what did he do, I guess is the question.
Yeah. Well, he kept them from doing anything, right? But also, I guess the question would be, did he do that or were they not going to do anything anyways?
Yeah. I mean, if you understand the last 50 years with North Korea, it's a very similar cycle, which is they start to make belligerent comments and they start doing missile tests and they appear to get marginally closer to developing whatever the next step in technology would be. Often it coincides with when there's famine or horrible circumstances. They then walk it back a little bit in consultation with, negotiating partners in exchange for food aid, and the whole thing kind of circles. And so the funny thing about Trump was, it was just kind of like a naivete where Kim Jong-un told Trump all the same stuff every North Korean leader has been telling every American leader for a very long time. And Trump thought that it was an accomplishment because he just didn't understand the history. And it's like, these leaders have been making these exact same promises forever. They never actually do them. They never demilitarize. They never do any of these things because Trump didn't know the history. He thought it was a major deal.
What do you think is the best thing he did?
I think that this is really narrow and it might have been repealed, but in that tax plan that he did in 2017, he lowered the threshold at which point medical expenses become tax deductible. That's a good thing because there's people who have high medical expenses for their income, but not quite enough for them to be tax deductible. I think it's a really good thing, especially when a lot of people pay for their own healthcare, to make it easier to make medical expenses tax deductible. Part of me thinks that might have actually been reversed, which would be really sad because I thought that was a good thing. I think the First Step Act, the criminal justice reform, did some good things.
What was that?
And so it changed sentencing around cannabis to a great degree. And it also did some, I don't remember if it was expungement or it helped people who had been previously wrapped up in the justice system as a result of cannabis. I think that was good. I think it would have been great for him to do more of that. The funny thing is, and this goes to Trump's confusion about everything, since leaving office, he goes around saying we should execute drug dealers. He is the one who, through the First Step Act, actually allowed some of those drug dealers to have their records cleared or whatever. It's like, do you remember that you did that? So it's all like a mishmash, throwing stuff at the wall. But I do think that was a good thing that he did.
Is he the most entertaining president of all time?
100%.
Right?
100%.
I think that is one of the things that the media definitely misses is just like you woke up every day.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what was going to happen,
right,
which was like chaotic.
Yes.
But also, I got to say that when he tweeted Lil Rocket Man at Kim Jong-un, pretty funny.
I would even
scary,
that's
but
not,
pretty funny.
So there's two parts to this. It is scary. It is scary because you realize the president didn't like where the hurricane was really going, so he took a Sharpie and he drew a different hurricane map. It's horrifying, but it's incredibly funny. It's incredibly funny. I told the story on another podcast, Trump's obsession with toilets. It's you can't even do a skit. I don't know if you remember this.
What is his obsession with
this
toilets?
was all about how Biden was going to end heating and cooling. He was going to give you low flow shower heads, and also the toilets were going to be low flow, so you'd have to flush them 10 to 15 times. Okay, so he kept saying at rallies, you're going to have to flush toilets 10 to 15 times. It's not going to work.
Which, by the way, if that was true, that would suck.
It would be terrible,
Yeah,
right?
that would
But
not
it
be
wasn't
fun.
happening. You should see the toilets I was able to get installed at my place. So he starts talking about that. Then it turns on after he loses. He goes on Fox News and he goes, there were huge dumps, and you're like, what is on this guy's mind? He's obsessed with toilets. He's talking about huge dumps of votes in the middle of the night. And then you find out he was flushing documents down the toilet. And you're like, that's why he needed to flush 10 to 15 times, because he's jamming classified documents. You can't write stuff like this. And it takes this 6-month arc to figure it out. It's pure comedy. It really is, but scary.